Hi my friends! Today I'll show you my tank collection. All my tanks that I made on my channel. Unfortunately, not all of them survived to this moment. Summer heat destroyed a couple of tanks, and one tank I blew up using power of sun and magnifying glass. First my model was Soviet T-70 tank, light tank, which produced in Soviet Union during Second World War. Interesting fact, it was second most mass-produced tank in Soviet Union during Second World War. 2 members of crew, engine and transmission placed right in battle compartment near the crew, and in summertime heat from gasoline engine was a big problem for men who drive this tank. 45mm frontal armor and 45mm cannon, which operated only one member of crew. And little surprise, also I have a T-70 made with matches. Yeah, a couple of years ago I had an interesting experience making a model like this. And of course, as usually, I made all internal parts inside my model. Second my tank model was German heavy tank Tiger II or King Tiger or Panzerkampfwagen 6 aus B. Oof, I love German names of tanks. Yeah. My Tiger II was first version of this tank with Porsche turret. I like the shape of this turret. 492 units were produced. First 47 of them was with Porsche turret. All another were equipped with Henschel turret. I made my model in green and yellow camouflage with some combat damage. Next my model was T-72, Soviet Russia main battle tank. Now it most massive main battle tank in Russia army. I made one of its first modification T-72B without a reactive armor and with smoke grenade launchers on a frontal part of turret. On my channel you can find 2 videos with this tank. In second video I showed you armor rack detonation, classic flying turret of Soviet tanks. It was epic. I almost broke my camera when I filmed this video for you. It could be my last video on the channel. Fortunately, I can fix my camera pretty quickly. So what we have here? T-34, a legendary Soviet medium tank. Most mass-produced tank during Second World War. This my tank heavily damaged with summer heat. Its shape became not so perfect, but I love this tank and it's still in my collection. I made modification which produced in 1942 with 76mm gun and modification with 85mm gun still in active service in some African countries. In future I will definitely make a T-34 with 85mm cannon. Another legendary Soviet tank, heavy KV tank. I made 2 versions of this tank, KV-1 and KV-2. Now you can see a KV-2 with 152mm gun howitzer. It was a real monster and a nightmare for German army at the beginning of the war. And yeah, who watched my videos know that firstly I made KV-1 with 76mm gun, and then I made a second modification KV-2 using the same chassis from my first model. I just replaced a turret with a new turret with huge 152mm cannon. Now I have both turrets and can quickly switch between them. Next tank I made for my Japanese friends, Type 74 main battle tank. STB-1 was the prototype of this tank and has a very similar construction. Type 74 was a classic old-school main battle tank with solid armor, with great 105mm British cannon, except one details. It has hydropneumatic suspension. Very unusual decision in tank design. Now I can't show you this tank with another my tank models, because I'm using it in another my project. The most unusual tank in my collection, Basilisk tank by Militech from Cyberpunk 2077 video game. Tank without tracks and wheels, with small unmanned turret, equipped as I think with gravity and jet engines, cockpit with 2 seats for crew, and also I made compartment for troopers at the backside of the hull, between the jet engines. Of course, there are no drones for this tank, and I came up with all the internal parts myself. Next was Panzerkampfwagen 8 Maus, German super heavy tank. Maus is the heaviest and the biggest tank ever built in the world, 188 tons of armor. During my work I found many interesting information about this vehicle. Do you know that this tank has an electric transmission and 2 electric motors? It also has a diesel engine to operate an electric generator to power its tracks with electric motor units. For me it was very interesting information about this tank. M113 APC. Yeah, it's not a tank, but I decided to take it in my video. I think everybody know about this armored personnel carrier. M113, the most widely used APC of all time. Over 80,000 vehicles have been produced and still used by over 50 countries worldwide. The M113 was the first aluminum hull combat vehicle to be put into mass production. This vehicle has more than a couple of dozen modifications. First appearance was during the Vietnam War. Since then it has been used in almost all conflicts around the whole world. Very famous APC. Next my model ICU-152, the Soviet self-propelled howitzer, also used like tank destroyer. For its ability to smash best protected German tanks, ICU-152 get nickname Beast Killer, or in Russia Zvero Boy. Good armor, great gun, simplicity made it very effective. This vehicle used during Chernobyl nuclear plant accident and also fought against American army during First Gulf War. And finally my last model, my last tank at this moment on my channel, Russia's newest main battle tank T-14 Armata. T-14 it's new generation of tank with unmanned turret. All crew in this tank sits in frontal part of the hull. Interesting tank, but Russia has a big problem with its production. And I think it's main reason why I can't find information about its using in Russia-Ukrainian war. It was very difficult model for me, too many little parts and plus almost no information about external parts. So guys, there are all my tanks models, yeah, plus 1 APC. How to make each vehicle you can find video on my channel, almost all videos with historical and technical information, and I hope it will be interesting for you. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends. Thanks for watching and see you next time.